Everything is made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything. So, obviously, if you want to get something, should you ask the creation or should you ask the creator? If I want to buy a toy and, I know the toy guy, I know the owner of the company, and I know he's a pretty nice guy, and I know, obviously, he could easily give me some toys. Should I go to the store and pay for them, or should I go and ask him for one? Yeah, so, of course, if you can get it for free, why not? Probably not a bad probably a bad example. That makes you a moocher, but the basis is clear. So creating these habits, if you're able to do that, and you're able to implement them. Now, reading the Quran has, of course, certain rewards. If you read the Quran, you can't just read it with words. You have to read it by your actions as well. If you read the Quran, what you read in the Quran, you have to implement that on your life. If the Quran says to do something, if it says not to do something, if it gives you an example of something not to do and you're doing it, then you have to change that. Of course, the people who fought against Imam Hussein, a lot of them were Hafiz Quran. They had memorized the Quran. They knew exactly what it said. They thought they knew more than anyone else. Of course, they knew more than us. A lot of us are not Hafiz Quran. Fortunately, I have not memorized the Quran yet. A lot of us aren't. So they knew more about the Quran than us. Can you imagine that those people, the ones who killed Imam Hussein, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, those people know more about the Quran than us. It's not just about memorizing the Quran. It's not just about reading. It's not just about even learning the words. It depends on how you go about it. There's words and there's actions. If you do what you have to do, if you do what it says, try to follow it, you try to do whatever you can, that is how you'll fully be able to implement the Quran. That's how you'll fully be able to have the effects of the Quran and unlock the effects of the Quran. Now, there's one thing which is reading it, and there's another thing unlocking the full power, the thing that the Prophet and the Imams understood about the Quran. We have the Quran on our shelf. We pick it up every so often. In the month of Ramadan, you read it, one more time than normal. So if we make these habits now, because what's the goal? The goal is to get to the finish line. The goal is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we have that goal in mind, then why do we always use the same thing? That every single day you wake up and you say, I'll do it later. I'll do it later is what ruins everything. Now, we know about that goal. But why aren't we trying to do anything about it? We know that we're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala one day. But we still have the same size suitcases as we did 5 years ago. Our suitcases have not changed. Of course, there's a story about the man who he worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for over 10 years. You think he was in a cave, he worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for over 10 years. And while he was worshipping, he realized that he wasn't getting anywhere, that it wasn't affecting him. He was in the same place that he was 10 years ago. And then, he criticized himself. He saw, I'm not going anywhere. Why? I wasted my... And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewarded him for that one moment more than he did for his, 10, 20 years of worship. So that's a huge example that how many of us are doing that? How many of us are stuck in that same thing, that we do good deeds, but it doesn't matter? We do good deeds, but then we do 100 bad deeds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it's better to refrain from sin than to do good. Now, since it's the month of Ramadan, our goals for this month, our goals for tomorrow, our goals for the future, these goals should be doing something right now that will help you keep that on track for tomorrow. I want to read namaz today. I want to read my Quran today. I want to help others today, so I do it tomorrow. The Quran doesn't say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say, be nice to people in Ramadan and be horrible to them after. Treat them with disrespect and spit on their shoes. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that at all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're supposed to be like this the entire year. We're supposed to be like this our whole lives. So why specifically in Ramadan do we decide to go? Just because it's more sawab? Ramadan, of course, has a lot of benefits. It's the best month of the year. So days are the best of days. Its nights are the best of nights. But we can't ignore the other 11 months. We can't ignore the time where that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at. You do your training today. Whatever we do today, we train for it. We use the whole month of Ramadan as training. And then after the month of Ramadan, that's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us. He unleashes the Shaitaan. Shaitan's back out. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you had your training for the month of Ramadan. You were my guest. I gave you all of this benefit. I gave you all this sawab. Now what are you going to do? Now that that's over, now that that benefit's over, now the Shaitan is out, now what can you do? An army, before they go into battle, they have to train. They have to be able to use their weapons. They have to be able to see people around them. They have to be able to realize. They have to have different strategies. So, same thing when Shaitan comes out. We have to be prepared. We have to train ourselves. We have to make sure that we are aware that the Shaitan is our enemy in this month. That Shaitan, he wants to get us. Right now in this world, Shaitan could be your best buddy. He could tell you to go rob something, you'll go rob it. He could tell you to take something, you'll take it. He could tell you different things and you'll believe it. But in the next world, on the day of judgment, when Shaitan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends Shaitan to Jahannam, what's going to happen is you're going to be taken with him. He's going to say, I brought all of you. You all followed me. You're the same as me. Getting under, conspiracy. If you charge one person for a crime, you can charge the people linked to it with the same crime. If somebody, the getaway driver, if you rob, these are extreme examples. If you take something from the candy store, I don't know. I think these are more realistic. I hope Robert's aren't watching. So if I take something from the masjid that I wasn't supposed to take, and somebody else knows about it, and they don't say anything, they don't at least, they just say, I didn't hear anything, I didn't see anything, how about me and you pretend this never happened, and we get on with it. That won't help you. That's the thinking that you're counting the same crime as them, because you saw it, but you didn't do anything about it. If we have this thinking that we're trying to plan for the next world, that's how we'll be able to make the most of it. If we don't have that thinking, that there is a tomorrow. It's not just about today. We're doing today what we want to see tomorrow. Do good today so you will see good tomorrow. That's why we see that all the things that we can do, if we can start a little schedule going, if we can start a little routine, you read namaz at a certain time, you read Quran at a certain time, you try to help others. That's how we'll be able to make it to the finish line. That's how we'll be able to be of the successful ones and not of those who are led astray. If you had a choice between going to heaven or hell, which one would you choose? You would choose heaven. But why aren't you trying to work for it? Why do you why do people seem to like the qualities of hell more? Doing nothing all day and, just going for your nafs, trying to please your nafs, trying to please your body, being with, bad people, stuff like that. That's not the thing of heaven, that's the level of Jahannam. So in order to avoid that, we have to build our stock today. We have to build a strong wall so that when the Shaitan comes back, our wall is too big that they can't come in. That we already built a defense system, and Shaitan knows it. That we made the most out of this month. So when Shaitan comes back, when Shaitan starts whispering in your ear and he tells you this and that, when he tries to bring you on the wrong path, he tries to tell you, you can miss your namaz. Ramadan's over. It only counts as one. It only counts as 10. You can miss it. Who cares? Don't give that guy some water. You don't need to. Ramadan's over. He's not fasting. Stuff like that. Now, I hope this is the thinking that you have, but this is the thing that Shaitan tells us. Now, as we know, those thoughts, they're not your thoughts. When you have a thought like that, if somebody has a thought, reaching a mile in 5 minutes, that's not you. That's Shaitaan. And Shaitaan, although, it's very bad, he does a very good job. Shaitaan is very good at what he does. And what he does is deceive people. How many millions have been deceived by the Shaitaan? It says, in Surah Waqi, it says, there will be a lot before and a few after. Which means that at the time of Prophet Muhammad, there were so many more companions, so many more of the wasabiqun. But now, in the year we are now, and you could say, oh, how do you know that means now? That was 1,400 years ago. Well, how do you know they're not talking about 2030, 2050, 5,000? It's talking about now. Anything until after the time of Prophet Muhammad, that with all his companions, all the people he was able to bring to Islam, and even after that, of course, the Imams. But now we see that so many things around us, so many distractions around us, that people surrender, basically. That they say, what can I do? There's so many other people against this. There's so many people that don't like it. That's why they feel uncomfortable with, wearing hijab, and they feel uncomfortable with, saying that they're Muslims. But this mindset won't help you. The only way of doing it is realizing that at the end of the day, there's only one goal. Whatever you have to do to get to that goal is the difference maker. The goal is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if I have 5 minutes today, I want to use that to the best of my advantage. If I have $5 in my pocket, you want to give away that money. We all know the story about the lady. She was going down, I think it was Imam, I think it was one of the Imams, so they were going to buy something. They were going to buy, and they saw this guy selling houses in paradise. So she thought, oh, I'll take a house in paradise. So she gave, he said how much. He was like, let's just say it was $5. It was, of course, I think, of course, a different currency, but let's say $5. She went to pay $5 for it. And the guy said, okay, here's your house in paradise. And then she had a house that she paid $5 for. She goes back, and she goes to sleep, and she has a dream of that house. And she sees, it's like a huge, beautiful palace, and, she's walking around, and this is in heaven. It was only $5. So she tells the dream to her husband, and her husband's like, wow, $5, you got a house in paradise? I want one of those. And he went back, and he asked the guy, he said, can I have one of those houses in paradise? He said, okay. It was like $20. He said, what? You sold it to my wife for $5. He said, your wife, she didn't know about it. She didn't know what was going to happen, but you already know. She told you about it, and that's why you're coming here. So that's why the price is more for you. Now look at this example, that building a house in paradise. Every little thing that you do, if I have $5, I give that $5 to a needy person. It helps the needy person. Whatever happens to that $5, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you 10 times more. And that will be your investment that you can actually see. Money comes, money goes. People come, people go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lasts forever. The all-knowing, the all-seeing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the good deeds we do right now, we will be judged on. The good things we do right now, the people that we help. If we have $10, give it to the poor, brothers and sisters. It's the month of Ramadan. As soon as the month of Ramadan is over, the day of Eid, you won't get that sawab. Of course, the day of Eid, a very great day. But, of course, it's sad to see the month of Ramadan go. You can't not be sad about seeing the month of Ramadan leave with all the, the rewards in this month. It's way more compared to any other month. It's, 100,000 times more than any other month. But the only thing that we can do now is we can try to make that niyat that we want to try and make some good habits. We want to try to learn what we can so that in the coming months we're the same as we are now. That we're not any different. We don't have a different mindset. That our mind doesn't change to Ramadan's over, let me go back to listening to music and doing whatever else I wanted to do. That's not how it is. It has to be a full cycle. You have to do this 100% the entire year. And if you're able to do that the entire year, if you're able to make that commitment, and you're able to maintain that for the entire year, that is how you please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not about one day, it's about 10 days. Person who plays one day, somebody who does something one day, you can't expect them to do it all 10 days. If somebody, let's say in basketball, when you play basketball, NBA players, they have an NBA game, and they play in that game, and they do really well. Just because they did well in that one game doesn't mean they're going to do well in 10 games. It could, but most of the time, if they do really well in one game, they're not going to do well all 10. So we look at our example that, of course, there are bad days. By bad days, I mean there's days you don't feel like doing anything. You're moping around, I don't want, namaz time comes, you don't want to read it, you're feeling sick. But those are the best days, because those are the days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you. He wants to see that, when you were perfectly fine, you were feeling good, then you were reading namaz, doing everything. What about now? What about when you're not feeling good? Unless, you're bedridden and this and that. If you're just a common, cold, people don't want to read their namaz. If my nose is stuffed, I can't concentrate. If your nose is stuffed, if your eyes hurting, got a headache, I can't read my namaz. There's many ways you can read your namaz. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that even if you're bedridden, even if you're you're not conscious, even if you're, all these disabilities, all these things, He says still read your namaz. Read your namaz in your mind that, at least think of reading. That's the benefit of namaz, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to miss it. Now if we do these things, we're able to implement these things. We're able to look at everything that we have, look at everything that we're doing now. That's how to build for the future. To get the most out of the month of Ramadan isn't just in the month of Ramadan, but it's out of the month of Ramadan. It's I did so much this month that now my heart is inspired. Now I want to do it in the other months. Now I have that mindset. Before I didn't have it. Before I thought life was all fun and games. Before I didn't do that. But now when the month of Ramadan came, now I'm able to see for what it really is. Now I'm able to see the truth that it's not just about today, it's not just about yesterday, but it's about tomorrow. It's about what I do tomorrow, how I strive. Today, I will see the results tomorrow. We have to be thinking about tomorrow. We have to constantly be thinking about tomorrow. People tell you to save money, but they don't tell you to look at tomorrow. They tell you to save money now so you can have a better life tomorrow. But they don't tell you what happens after tomorrow. What happens after tomorrow when the money is gone? What happens after you're gone? What happens? Do we have a saving account for that, or are we not trying? We're not trying. Your saving account for that, let's say it's very, very, very low. If you look at our day, 24 hours in a day, what do we do in those 24 hours? Do we constantly read Quran? I don't even want to use the example of the month of Ramadan, because it's just, if you're reading your bare basics in the month of Ramadan, there's a problem. You have to be doing the extra. Do the mustahab, do whatever you can. The blessed month, there's 5 days left of this month. You won't receive this benefit. You may never receive it again. You may never live to the end. You may never live to Eid. So right now, if you can give $5, if you can give $10, if you can be kind to someone, if you can help someone in whatever way you can, even little things, like if you want to help somebody set up their Zoom account, or you want to teach them how to use, Skype. Little things like those matter. Because little acts of kindness are what makes the big acts of kindness. Helping some person with their not right now, never mind. On a normal day, when the coronavirus is over, helping someone with their groceries is what helps, what starts being kind to someone, smiling. These are the little things that put you towards that right path. Through the little becomes the big. If you keep throwing in, you keep piling in sand, pile. Sand are made up of very tiny grains, but because there's so many of them, it's a whole beach. So with this thinking, with this mindset that there is a tomorrow. We know about the day of judgment, but do we really care about the day of judgment? Yeah, we know that there's going to be some judgment day, and it's coming, and we're going to be judged theoretically, But do we actually care? Are we trying right now? Am I waking up every morning knowing the day of judgment is coming, that it could be tomorrow? Or do I think, the day of judgment, it'll be 100,000 years from now. The 12th Imam will come, 2 million years from now. You never know. That is what sends you on the wrong path. That idea that you can do it later. We have the day of judgment could be coming any moment. We know we could die any moment, but we're not trying for it. We're still sane. We're still in the same place that we do the minimum. And the minimum doesn't just mean, namaz and Quran. It means the very basic stuff. That's what we're doing. We're not doing anything. We're not helping people. If we help someone, it's just kind of like, excuse me, can you get it out? Like some people I see, not at the masjid, but just regular. You're walking past them in the hallway or something, and they're blocking your way. And they'll say, excuse me, in a rude voice. And, because to make you get out of the way. And that act of kindness is what really made my day. So thank you. That is what people seem to see. They don't realize that other side. They don't realize that there is something bigger than this world. You know about it, you don't realize it. You hear about it, you can't really know about it. We can learn a few things about it. We can see all the punishments of the Day of Judgment, all the things, how the people will, they won't even be able to speak out of fear. That the hunger and thirst that you feel right now, I think in New York it's on times, so yeah, the hunger and thirst you feel right now is the hunger and thirst you'll feel on the Day of Judgment. That's why we're training for it. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the month of Ramadan. He's training us in this month with fasting. He's saying, learn, don't be about just food. On a normal day, how much do you eat? How much do you drink? How much do you think about food? People's lives revolve around food. You have lunch, what's for dinner? You have breakfast, what's for lunch? You have lunch, you have dinner, what's for breakfast? We're always thinking about food. We're constantly thinking, if you see some food, you go eat it. You're constantly thinking about eating and drinking that, you don't have that room for anything else. That food, that thinking of I'm hungry, is taking up your area to try and get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's taking up that area that you think that there is something else that has to be done. Because we're constantly thinking about it. We're constantly talking about it. Of course, food is good. You need food to survive. There is good food. That's why Imam Ali alayhi salam would have bread and he would have water. He would have it so he would see, the sufferings of the orphans. He would hate to see the sufferings of the orphans. He couldn't stand it. And he would also have it so that he wouldn't be on that level. He wouldn't always be thinking about food. He controlled his body. Imam Ali alayhi salam had control over his body. Do we have control over our bodies? Probably not. If your body tells you to go do something, you do it. Your body's your boss, and you're the servant. Your body says, go get another Coke, go drink some more, chocolate milk, get a little more ice cream, 4 bowls, that's not enough. 3 bowls yesterday, 4 bowls, that's not enough. Your body tells you things like these. Your body says, read your namaz a little later, I'm a little tired, chop, go back to sleep. And we believe it. We don't have that extra mindset that there is a final destination, that there is something that we're building for, that the month of Ramadan isn't just about fasting. The month of Ramadan is about looking at what we have today, doing what we can today, and seeing the results tomorrow, so that when the month of Ramadan ends, when we're on the first few days of the next month, we look at it and we can be content with what we have. We can say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, the month of Ramadan has benefited me. Before this month, I didn't know about my religion. I didn't do enough. I didn't think about tomorrow, but now I am. I didn't think about the Day of Judgment. Now I'm doing it. I didn't give to charity, but now I'm doing it. If we do these little things, we have these little change in our mindset that we realize what's going on here. That life doesn't have control over us, we have control over life. Imam Ali, he had all, the wealth of he had the whole wealth of he was a Khalifa, he was very rich, but he used that money to give to charity. He didn't use that money in his own personal things. He didn't buy extravagance like the caliphs before him and the caliphs after him. If we use these examples of the people Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put on this earth, and we see that there's 5 days of the month of Ramadan, what can I do to become like them? If we use these 5 days and we use them to get closer to those people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, that's the goal. That's how we'll be able to cross that finish line. That's how we'll be able to be pleased with ourselves. That we'll be able to say what we have. If you were to die today, would you be pleased? If people say the common question, if you were going to die tomorrow, what would you do? Oh, I would read Quran, I would read my namaz, stuff like that. Yes, good point. But why do you have to wait till you die? Why do you have to wait till tomorrow? Why do you think you're going to die tomorrow? How do we know we're not going to die today? The month of Ramadan, 5 days left. This could be your last month of Ramadan. Best month of the year. With that 5 days, use it to create a schedule. Use it to build for what you have tomorrow. Use it to create good habits that you can be proud of. That you can see these good habits and you can realize it came from the month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped you build it because of the month of Ramadan. Be kind to others. Be kind to others because of this month. Give to more charity. Make those niyats that in this month I'm giving to. If you made those niyats on Laylatul Qadr, if you said to Allah, you said, Ya Allah, I'm going to give more to charity this month. I'm going to give more to the poor. You make that niyat on Laylatul Qadr, then whenever you do that, you get the sawab as if it was on Laylatul Qadr. For 100,000 extra good deeds. So constantly be on the lookout. Realize that our time is short. And realize that there is a tomorrow. That it's not just a myth. It's not just something people say will happen, but it's all the way back there. It's something that's very real. It's something that's right now. Right now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us. Right now, everything we do is being recorded. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could either be pleased with what you have, He could be looking at it saying, wow, those are the best of my servants, or He could be looking at it and saying, turn them on the right path. They have to repent. They're not doing good. They're making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala angry. So if you look at it through this way, and you realize exactly what's going on, you're in check with reality, you're in check with realizing, telling yourself if you're doing good or bad, then our future will be a bright future. We can have something to look forward to. We have something to look forward to in that time that before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trained us, now is the time to show Him what we can do. Now it's the time that after we did all that training, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us so much in this month, we read extra Quran, we extra namaz. Now, after the month of Ramadan is over, we're able to continue that streak. Not just for 1 month, but for 12 months. Of course, inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us the tawfiq to answer all of our prayers, and inshallah, we are of the successful ones. Yes. Now, I'm just going to quickly read the daily dua. That's 1 minute dua. O Allah, on this day, please make me bear love for your intimate servants, and bear enmity to your enemies, and follow the instruction of the seal of your prophets. O the protector of the prophets' hearts. We are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to stay with the people that He loves, that we have those kind of people that not only, of course, our friends, but our role models. Imam Ali alayhi salam, Prophet Muhammad, the best of His servants, that we want to try and be like those people. And of course, to stay away from the bad people, that we're not of those people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates, those horrible people that did wrong and it's too late for them. We don't want to be of those people. We want to make sure our line is clear. And of course, look at the examples of the prophets. Look at the examples of the imams. Look at the examples of the best of Allah's creations. Looking at these examples tell us what to do. By looking at these examples, Imam Ali alayhi salam was a huge example. Prophet Muhammad was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy to this world. So looking at these examples, trying to follow those examples, if we realize that the success Prophet Muhammad used, that was a successful formula, then we should also use that formula. Oh, the protector of the Prophet's hearts. Prophets are the best of people. The Prophets were, pure. The Prophets and Imams, they would always ask so many questions. They were constantly learning. Why were they doing this? They already knew the question to everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them everything. They did this as examples. If they would ask a question, if they would ask something, it would be out of trying to teach people. It would be out of trying to teach a lesson. So inshallah, we are all looking out for that. We are all, if we can do a good deed, we do a good deed. If you can refrain from a bad deed, try to refrain from a bad deed. Of course, sometimes it gets hard. Sometimes people want to have haram. But you have to refrain from it. You have to stop. Sometimes it's hard not to lie. Somebody asks, did you do that? You say, yeah. You don't want to do it. Yeah, I did it. Right. And then you're planning on doing it tomorrow. Well, that's all the time we have left for today. Thank you for everyone who participated in our program. Now we're going to do Allahumma kulli walika for the safe and protection of our 12th Imam. And inshallah, with the benefits of this month, we are all closer to the 12th Imam. And inshallah, we try to get that connection with our 12th. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma kulli waliyaka al-Hujjat ibn al-Hassan. Salawatuka alayhi wa ala abai. في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good